this genetic disease leads to a higher chance of surviving malaria.
I bet. I don't know if you know, but bananas also have radiation in them. They radiate.
Wait, hold on. One after the other, okay?
No, we're not going to fire any nuclear bombs
yet.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Komodo podcast. My name is Udo and this is Kim.
Hello.
So Kim, today your job is to pick your favorite apocalypse scenario. Choose wisely because you're going to kill us all now. All right. You have three options. Option 1, giant locust swarm that is eating all of our crops and will cause a giant famine.
How biblical. Okay.
Option 2, asteroid kills humanity. And after that, a new species will evolve that will surpass humanity. So basically what happened to the dinosaurs 2.0.
The humans came. Okay, got that one. What was the third one?
Yeah. Third one is AI takes over and there's a bug in the AI. And now it will force us to make pineapple pizza every day and whip us like slaves.
Okay, I picked number 3. That was easy.
That was easy? Oh, shit. Okay, I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff.
Look, I'm kinky. I put No, I don't. I don't think I've ever had pineapple on my pizza, but no judgment if you do. But it would probably be my personal apocalypse as well if I had to make and eat pineapple pizza for the rest of my days.
And you don't get to eat any pizza.
Oh my
just
god,
throwing it
that's
away.
even worse. You're just making it for the AI who cannot consume it, and you don't get to either. You just gotta throw it away. What an apocalypse, huh?
Indeed.
Yeah, we've made this whole episode today, where our main topic at least will be apocalypse. As usual, we might diverge and go somewhere else a little bit with it, but we felt like it's
ending the world just for fun.
Yeah, why not, right? We've done the podcast and episode so far now, maybe now we just talk a little bit about world ending. So but if we're doing this episode, I want to make a definition of it because I think apocalypse is not super obvious on what that might mean, so we will use the definition as follows so that we are all on the same kind of page. It is an event involving destruction or damage on a catastrophic scale, and that's the definition we will use. But you should know, if you don't already know, you can Google this. There are something called personal catastrophic events as well, so they will be included there in that too. So, event involving destruction or damage on a catastrophic scale, but that could be also for just yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be for ending of the planet and world, but yeah, we'll use it that way as well, just so you guys we're on the same page.
What would that be in your case? Your personal.
My worst kind of imagined apocalypse would be where probably where everyone died or something, or people are basically dead, or and then I survive. I don't really want to live in a post-apocalyptic world.
You don't?
I don't.
That's unusual.
Yeah, how strange of me. I would probably rather. I think some people would probably just say, save me, keep me, but not me. If the whole world as I know it is gone anyway, what kind of quality of life would you get anyway? And then imagine also if you're in pain. Imagine everyone's dead and you're just in nerve pain or some serious kind of pain. Yeah, that would be rough. I wouldn't like that one bit. What about you?
Well, I was just trying to imagine what it would look like. Everyone's dead except for me. I'm trying to call the ambulance, and then I remember, these guys are dead as well.
Yeah, I suppose depending on how the apocalypse looks, if it doesn't look like a Terminator, that type of apocalypse, because you're probably not gonna consider calling an ambulance when it looks like that. You're probably gonna remember just based on look. But if you have an AI apocalypse, then maybe things look much more normal on the surface, and then maybe you forget and you let it go. It's actually something I thought about too, that if you go through an apocalypse, one of the things, so in an apocalypse where people don't immediately die, for example, but people are scavenging for resources and food and whatever else they're going to be doing. One of the things we would really have to think about is that there's going to all the first aids are going to be taken immediately, right? They're going to be, any pharmacy, anything like that, you're going to loot the first aid, and then you're going to use that first aid too, because a lot of people would probably be needing it. And I was thinking that very quickly, I think now that we're sitting here, we would think, we would just use the first aid and all the antiseptics and penicillin and all that. But first of all, a lot of those things expire. Not all of it, but a lot of aid stuff expires. And then two, it's also going to be used up and then disappeared. So we're going to have to go back to rendered fats as a natural antiseptic. Do you know anything about rendering fat and making a natural antiseptic?
I have no idea about rendering fat.
Yeah, me neither. So I think I would be screwed because, we're going back to sticks and stones. So yeah, a small little inflammation, or maybe even having an upset stomach used to kill people. We're back to that probably.
GG.
Yeah, GG no re. After a little while at least. That's what I would imagine.
What I'm thinking about when it's an apocalypse scenario, everything is back to realism. The one who can defend his property will keep it. There's no police, there's no law enforcement or so.
Yeah. So you wouldn't want to have an apocalypse in America or maybe you do. I don't know. It depends on people in America. In some states like Texas, for example, they'll say, a well-armed society is a polite society. Something that gets thrown around a lot, and yeah, if you believe in that, then that could be that could definitely be something that could help. But as we are in Europe, we would probably more likely believe that, oh my God, we don't have any protection as I don't know, as a gun. I mean, a lot of countries in Europe have guns, I suppose, but it'd be more difficult. It would be, I guess my point is that it would be a difference between those who have the guns and those who don't. Whereas maybe in Texas, you can just presume that most people are gonna carry something, and it's much more even playing field. It's the unevenness of guns that makes a big part of the problem, I think, right? Of course, other than mental health issues, that's probably the number one. But you either want to have probably the assumption that everybody's armed, like in Texas, or that assumption that only police have guns and that nobody else has them. And when
I guess that's the reason for the Second Amendment.
It is indeed, absolutely. I mean, the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment and escaping, these regimes, as they probably would be called, leaving what they would probably be thinking, leaving the UK. But it is there to protect those rights. So as long as you have it kind of equal, it's probably the best. It's the worst is when only cops have guns, maybe, and criminals. No, worse is probably when you don't have cops and only because nobody has guns because you made them illegal, and then all the criminals don't care about if it's legal or not, so they're going to have it regardless, and then you're just not prepared. Then you just don't have a good recourse for that. I think that's probably the worst for me, at least. What do you think?
This reminds me of German politics. Because there was a similar scenario. I think it was a knife attack, and some politician was screaming, just make it illegal to carry knives with that exceed a certain length in that area, and then the problem is solved, right? No, guess what? Criminals will not follow the law. So we just ignore that.
Oh, color me surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the same laws in my home country and things like that as well. And in the country I live in now has it so that you cannot have here you can have some knives on you. It's not that covered, but in my home country, I believe the law is that you cannot carry a knife on you unless it kind of has a purpose for you carrying it. Meaning, if you're like a construction worker or a carpenter or something, it makes sense that you have a knife on you. But if you're going to a grocery store or when you're leaving for lunch, you cannot bring that knife with you to the restaurant, most likely. That would probably skirt some issues there, unless, like I said, you have a purpose for it. I think that's how it's done there. But that's only one thing, like, the customer. I mean, criminals don't care about breaking the law, obviously, in the first place. And number two, God, I find knife and axes and things like that, it's just so disgusting compared to, a shot. A gunshot is, I don't know, it just doesn't seem as...
Painful.
Well, I don't know. It just seems I would much rather be shot than I would be stabbed. Let me just say that, by 10x. Like, no doubt in my mind. Also think that you would probably have a better chance of survival too by a 9mm or even smaller round of survival compared to an average kitchen blade going through, in a lot of different places, like even a thigh. If you hit that artery, for example. That's 10-4. That's what. That's the end of your world. That's your apocalypse. Have you ever gone through something that felt like the end of the world, meaning like an apocalypse?
As someone who stays in his house all the time, no, definitely not. So that's an advantage.
You don't suffer from anxiety then, or something like that. That could also make you feel like you have that impending doom. You ever had anxiety?
I guess mainly when I'm worried about not hearing the alarm clock in the morning, and then I will miss work. That's kind of the only thing right now.
That's the closest, but that only makes you feel really stressed. It doesn't feel like the world is ending if you are late. Yeah.
No.
I think I haven't really had anxiety either, so I'm not definitely shouldn't probably be talking about this. But when you read about it, a lot of people are reporting that they feel that sense of impending doom, and it's supposed to be, if you have anxiety or if you have a severe anxiety, that's supposed to be kind of what it feels like to go through an apocalyptic event. So those people who have anxiety or have had bad anxiety attacks before can probably relate a lot more to the state of despair and lack of hope, I guess. Interestingly enough, a side note, I read this also just the other day. Did you know that if you get the wrong blood transfused into you, that's one of the symptoms that people report, is feeling an impending doom? Interesting, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. Also, I think if you give the wrong blood, you're also, it's because you also are. It's not just a feeling like impending doom. It is impending doom for you. That's getting the wrong blood will kill you. So.
So it is literally. So it's justified this time. That anxiety is justified.
Let's just be honest here. It's not going to be impending doom that long, and it'll be one time impending doom, whereas anxiety comes back. No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying dying is much worse than having anxiety. I'm being inappropriate here.
Get cancelled.
Get cancelled. Again. Yeah, how many minutes in are we? We're getting cancelled as usual. We wouldn't want to have it any other way at the Commuter Podcast.
Oh shit. Could you kind of gene edit the anxiety gene out of your system?
Yeah, I suppose.
That would be kind of funny.
Like with CRISPR and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if you could, or if they know how to do that yet. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think that they know, but yeah, what could they do?
They can. That's a good question. They can. People are already using CRISPR to gene edit their children and trying to create these, things. By the way, yeah, look up CRISPR, CRISPR, and gene editing and do some research. It's terrifying. And I actually wrote this down because I think this is could be one of the apocalypses. Because if you're doing, like many people in China, for example, they gene edit their children. If you have X amount of potential, like if you're looking at getting a child, and then you have a selection of X amount of options, if you will, and you select it based on the competitive advantage that you think would be for your kids. So they gene edit out certain things. What would that be like? I was thinking that could be something that because of realism, you have to stay competitive in the future, because CRISPR and gene editing exists in the future. You cannot just ignore it, right? Because there are going to be people who are going to do it, and they're going to have potentially a huge advantage, maybe intellectually, or maybe gene editing out some diseases or whatever else that they can do both now and in the future with it. So if you're going to stay competitive, we might have to really do that. But what if it's a huge mistake? What if it takes years or even generations to show that maybe all the kids or that got gene manipulated, today, maybe in 3 generations, it turns out that it connects with some kind of disease, and all of a sudden every person who was gene edited, and 50% of the population dies out because of dementia or something, I don't know, or maybe really get random psychosis, because I would imagine that we do things in this world with technology so quickly, right? And in general, I read this somewhere. I'm not sure if this is true, so please, again, find this out for yourself. But I read somewhere a long time ago that if you create a technology, it takes about 50 years to get a quote unquote full set of data, or full set of information, where to a percentage, all the ins and outs of it, for example. And if you think about it, we haven't had even Wi-Fi for 50 years, which means we could potentially be getting blasted with some kind of thing in our heads, and 5G is even newer than that. And put all these different technologies that haven't had 50 years of its existence yet, these things could maybe impact us in a huge way that we don't even really know yet. And that, to me, is a bit terrifying.
Well, the 50-year scale is kind of reasonable, because that's basically long-term effects. Like if you're a child and you're exposed to some new technology, then I don't know, 50 years later you get cancer from that. I remember back in the days when people used to have these uranium shiny watches or clocks. It was, I think.
Yeah.
It just looked pretty. Turns out it causes cancer.
Yeah, it had radiation on it. I think we make those glasses too, right? Aren't there uranium glasses that existed? They were lime green and see-through. Maybe those were not dangerous. I don't know, but they were radiating something. But that's like saying a banana does as well. I don't know if you know, but bananas also have radiation in them. They radiate.
Yeah, it's natural radiation. Actually, in the atmosphere as well, all the time.
I bet.
Yeah. Okay. Back to gene editing.
Yeah.
What is gene editing used for nowadays? What can it do today already? Can you give me 3 examples?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. But you know what's even better than me explaining it? We today have young Jamie, who is an AI, who's going to be joining us in the podcast going forward. We're trying it out a little bit, but he's very excited to talk to us today. And young Jamie, I wonder, could you what is gene editing used for today? Give us, I don't know, maybe 3 examples. Let's see what he says here.
1, treating genetic disorders like sickle cell disease. 2, improving crop resilience and yield. 3, advancing cancer immunotherapy.
Thank you, young Jamie. That was nice. There you go. Welcome, young Jamie, to the podcast. Insert applause here. Very good. Treating genetic disorders like sickle cell. Improving crop resilience and yield.
Wait, hold on. One after the other, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what sickle cell disease does?
No, I've heard about it, but no. What does it do? Do you know?
Okay, it's the protein in your blood, hemoglobin.
Yeah.
It's actually misshaped. Okay. And this causes your blood cells to be misshaped as well. That's why it's called sickle cell. Yeah, so usually the red blood cells are round, but in case of sickle cell disease, they are like kind of long and look
like
kind of like a
bananas.
sickle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or a sickle. Oh, even better. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
actually. Are they a bit flat then as well?
Yeah, they are flat and smaller, and also they kind of degenerate a lot quicker. So it's called sickle cell anemia because your blood is weaker. Yeah, it can't carry a lot of oxygen because your cells are degenerating all the time. Okay, and then the blood cells get recycled in some organ. I forgot the name of the organ. But the thing is, it's the lifespan of a red blood cell will be reduced significantly. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a huge disadvantage unless you have malaria.
Oh yeah, because that kills it or something like that. Is that right? Or am I making that up?
Okay. So malaria is a virus, and viruses always need a host, and then they inject their genes into that host, so that host reproduces the virus.
Mm-hmm.
So the virus DNA gets injected into the host DNA, and instead of replicating its own DNA, the host cell will replicate the virus. So the thing is about malaria, these viruses are usually injecting their DNA into the red blood cell. But since the red blood cells in sickle cell anemia sucks ass and degenerate so quickly, the malaria virus doesn't spread very rapidly. So this genetic disease actually leads to a higher chance of surviving malaria. That's why it's that genetic disease is actually more widespread in places where there's a lot of malaria, because these are the people who have a higher chance of survival. And the others just die.
They pass away, so it doesn't. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. I somehow knew that there was something with malaria that but I thought it was like something like heat, like it goes through an extreme amount of fever or something, and you know how fever really kills off a lot of things. And I thought it was something like that, but it's not. It led me to a question that I want to ask also, young Jamie. If you know, I'm a runner, and if you know what VO2 max is, I thought about VO2 max and sickle cell. So for those of you who don't know VO2 max is, it's basically how good are your blood cells at carrying oxygen. And a lot of runners, they usually keep track of their VO2 max because it's really a fun thing to see how efficient your body is at carrying oxygen and doing what it's supposed to. And you're just telling me that the sickle cell would probably have an effect on that. So I asked young Jamie, who by the way is a ChatGPT AI, and he says, VO2 max would likely be lower in someone with sickle cell. And he says this:
VO2 max in individuals with sickle cell trait or disease can be lower by approximately 20 to 25% compared to those without the condition, although the exact percentage can vary depending on the severity of the disease and individual fitness levels.
Right. So that's interesting. That if you have sickle cell, you'd be about 20 to about a fifth to a quarter less efficient at carrying oxygen according to a VO2 max.
Yeah, imagine someone with sickle cell disease still being capable of outrunning you. That guy would be badass.
You don't know me, son. You don't know me, son. You can't hurt me.
Who's gonna carry the boats?
The boats and the logs. Back to CRISPR and gene editing. The other thing I was thinking about too is that the loss of genetic diversity. We know
Oh
that.
wait, can I quickly comment something on the sickle cell thing?
Yeah, please.
What I was trying to say with that example is that not every genetic disadvantage is an objective disadvantage. There's actually situations where the genetic mutation is an advantage, like for example the malaria case. So I personally think we cannot judge immediately because there's so many different scenarios where it can be useful. We just don't know yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, still a lot of research that needs to be done.
And that kind of goes into this point too, actually, which is the loss of genetic diversity. Is that we don't know by gene editing what some of those genes may have as a pro and a con in every single scenario, and with every single disease, with every single outcome. It's just not possible to calculate for. Maybe AI can do it one day, Maybe one of those protein folding AI computers that can do something like that. But I think it's dangerous to figure out what what the benefit is. That's much as obvious by gene editing. You can take some genes out that are make you prone to breast cancer or maybe dementia or maybe like various things, as an example. But you don't know what the cost may be by removing it. Like that would be the thing that would be really, really dangerous, because if you have a bunch of people who are gene manipulated, that's going to cause a issue with us having a loss of genetic diversity. And we know that in the animal kingdom, that's really, really bad. We know that with chickens, for example, that chickens die out en masse. If you have sometimes when you have a one little disease go through, like a barn or something, because they're so similar now than compared to hundreds of years ago, where they might have been a lot more different kinds of chickens and things like that, perhaps. But now we make them, especially with big chests and things, because we use them for food, right?
Yeah, but why would we lose genetic diversity?
Because I think that if we are in the future gene manipulating, it's in our selfish motivation and interest to do that, because you want a kid who's going to live a long and happy life. Who wouldn't want to wish that out for their kid? And if you do that, it's going to be too expensive in the beginning, so rich people can afford it, and then the technology will come down, and then everybody will need to do it to stay. Maybe you insert a gene or growth that has that growth where you become, gigantism or whatever it's called. Maybe you want to make like the biggest. I don't know. Maybe maybe as a father you're a big boxer or wrestler, and you want your kid to for sure come up in the world as a big wrestler. That would be hugely advantageous to you. So you gene edit your kid so that he comes out to be a giant or whatever else. But I think that's gonna. Go ahead.
It sounds like a character customization in a video game.
Yeah, it sounds like a Marvel comic book universe kind of thing, doesn't it? Like Bane just pumps some liquids into him and he becomes big, and yeah, it does sound something like that. But you could create the next Michael Phelps. He has a lung capacity that is not normal. His lung capacity is extremely large compared to, he's outside the bell curve by a lot. And not to take anything away from him as an athlete, he earned it. And you can't just be born with big lungs and then think that it means you're going to be the elite in the world. No, you have to put the work in. So I'm not taking anything away from that. But he does have that advantage that is immense compared to everybody else who don't have the lung capacity he does. So that's what I think. You're going to want to create people who remove the bad things and add the good things. And I think that's going to be a problem in the future regardless. But, of course, perhaps not apocalyptic. So it's just a side note for this episode. But it could be interesting. The other thing would be resistance to treatment too. If you make some gene edits, that's going to make individuals resistant to maybe some additional treatments, perhaps. This is a perhaps kind of method. Where it might lead to new illnesses or maybe new things that doctors are maybe not prepared to address. One of the things that I was thinking about here is that you know how the polar ice caps are melting?
Yeah.
You
Global warming.
know, yeah, you know that they are saying that because the ice caps are melting, what's underneath there is soil, and soil is brown instead of white, which means that it actually speeds up the melting, right?
Positive feedback loop.
Positive feedback loop, right? Exactly. So it just goes faster and faster. You know also that they believe there's tons and tons of different pathogens that haven't come out of there for thousands of years, and they know that those things are alive and will and can affect animals and probably humans as well. And some of those might be pathogens that died out thousands of years ago. So maybe we get like a brand new bubonic plague or something. Who knows, huh?
Yeah, at some point that stuff will get into our food chain.
Yeah, most likely. And so what if one of those are something that would be an analogous to people not being resistant to some of the pathogens that are out there. And if you do a lot of genetic manipulation, then you're going to be more similar, you know, like think about looks, for example. We all know, we find similar things attractive, you know, in the world. And so people look a lot more similar than they did, I think, a long time ago, because now everybody has access to the same makeup. So if you're 14, you're putting on the same makeup maybe as a girl that someone who's 22, for example, puts on, because they're following the same, Instagram account, and they saw the same video, so they buy the same palette and they do the same makeup and whatever. And the same thing with clothes, same thing with everything else. And yeah, that makes us a lot more similar in the pool of things, and I think gene resistant things could be a problem there. Technology outpaces understanding.
Whoa, wait, let's stay on that other point first. I don't think everyone should do genetic or gene editing. I think it should only be used, or mainly be used for
the military.
Lethal genetic diseases. Holy shit, you're going to the
military industrial complex. It's an apocalypse episode, sir. I'm immediately thinking military. Okay, what a bunch of...
All right. Learn something new about you today. Now know who you're working for.
This podcast is a shill. Cancelled number 2.
But the thing you said earlier about the athletes, yeah, probably athletes and military will be using it a lot. I don't think it would be too beneficial for I don't know, engineers or artists or so.
I think it would be, because what if there's genes that you can mess with that will increase your capacity to learn, or increase your capacity for memory, or increase your capacity for staying in the uncomfortable zone, meaning you're growing as a person and learning and challenging yourself. I think those things would have an exponential, huge impact on it. I don't know necessarily if that's something that's possible to do, or if it's not possible to do today, maybe it's possible to do in the future. So I think everybody's gonna want to in the future.
Oh, I don't know about everybody.
I agree. Definitely not. I agree. Definitely not everybody. That's definitely overstating it. But I think the problem with realism is that you are going to have people who are going to do that, and it's going to be very motivating to do the same thing for your kids. You know,
unless you are Amish.
That's for sure. Yeah. And I think probably a lot of religions would probably stay away. I'm imagining.
Yeah, probably. So
and that's good. That's how we get some genetic diversity back, or kept rather. It's good that we're thinking it differently.
Yeah. So at least I'm not going to worry about that too much.
No. By the way, we should say that we don't think anything should be worried about in this episode that much. It might be a little bit scary if you're hearing all these things, but I will tell you at the end why you should not worry about all the things we're going to talk about so much here. We've done a decent bit of researching for this episode to make sure that it doesn't scare us too much. There should be no reason for us to be scared or having anxiety. So if you suffer from a lot of anxiety and this is a rough topic for you, maybe we should have warned you. You should probably not be in this episode. Take off right now. No, it's not that bad.
Take off before the positive message is coming.
Yeah. Well, the positive message is coming at the end of this episode. So, leave and then zoom back in at the end of it and then just hear the positive. I'm kidding. And we have quite a few apocalyptic things written down today. Do you wanna let's start with your earthquake one, maybe. Let's go with earthquake.
Well, let's ask young Jamie about that. What was the strongest recorded earthquake?
The strongest recorded earthquake on Earth was the 1960 Valdivia earthquake in Chile, with a magnitude of 9.5.
Oh my God. I've never heard of 9.5. How much is... Well, let's ask him. How much is 9.5?
A 9.5 magnitude earthquake releases energy equivalent to about 32 gigatons of TNT, similar to the energy of over 2,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs.
2,000.
My gosh. 2,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs. 32 gigatons of TNT. Interesting measurement of TNT. Anyway, I thought we always measured in atomic bombs, like the second one.
Gigatons is actually common for bombs.
Makes sense because atomic has the radiation and things, isn't it? TNT makes sense for.
Yeah, but nuclear bombs is going to be another apocalypse.
It would take roughly 1 trillion Hiroshima bombs, about 3 billion megatons of TNT, to release enough energy to overcome Earth's gravitational binding energy and theoretically destroy the planet.
Wow, young Jamie is dark.
That would be destroying the whole planet. There's no Earth left, not even the Earth core.
Aha, interesting. 1 trillion Hiroshima bombs.
I'm glad we're kind of far away from that.
That's true. Yeah. But on the other hand, you would only need probably a fraction of that to blow up all the surface level of the Earth.
Yeah, probably.
Also, I wonder if this blows up every little bit of the Earth, because it says it would be enough energy to overcome Earth's gravitational binding. So I suppose Earth then technically still is left, but it's SOL, as we say. It's shit out of luck. It's screwed.
No, there would be no planet Earth. It would just be like a lot of flying rocks.
Yeah, split. Yeah, and since it wouldn't have that gravitational binding anymore, it would be flying in every direction, probably.
Yeah. But I'm glad that nuclear apocalypse has never happened. And there was actually someone who prevented that. Can you tell us more about that guy?
Yeah, I'm thinking here talking about Vasily Arkhipov. I'm not sure how to say his name. I apologize if that's incorrect, but yeah, Vasily Arkhipov, I think. And he was one of the people who prevented a nuclear war. He was a Russian submariner, and he was, I believe, second in command. And Russia actually gave them the go-ahead to send because they were being bombed by, I believe, the U.S. And they were actually, all of them were underwater in a submarine, and they were all dying. And so, as a retaliatory, instead of just sitting there and dying, they have nuclear bombs actually on the submarine. That, by the way, the U.S. did not know that they did, and Russia gave the command that if you see fit, you can fire the thing. And he's Vasily Arkhipov is the second only other person on that submarine. It was the first, I don't know what it's called, commander, but it was the first main person who can authorize this. And there's only one person who had veto power, and that was Vasily. And he did use that veto power against the whole cruise. Because look, if everybody's dying and you think everybody's going under, and you're going to die in a submarine, as a person, as a human, right? You're going to want to, I can just send this. We have the authorization. We can send it before we die, or even send it and stop dying, But Vasily decided that, no, we're not going to fire any nuclear bombs, and we will go down with the ship if they had to. And they didn't. He actually survived, I believe. And many years later, he didn't get any recognition for saving the entire world during the time he was alive. But many years later, his family accepted some awards on his behalf as a great honor, and they were happy to accept that. They consider him to be, a hero for saving Earth now. And what's really cute is that his wife always viewed him as the man who prevented nuclear war, even in the beginning, because he went through quite a reputation, because he was considered a hero. And then when this happened, they were almost going through a mutiny. And imagine if there would have been a mutiny, and imagine he doesn't stop that nuclear bomb and all hell breaks loose. Can you imagine? But his wife said, I was very proud, and I'm still very proud of my husband always. I find that so adorable that she knew that was right, and the husband also clearly knew. Very, very intelligent people. And
That's really sweet.
Yeah, it is. And the crazy thing is, that's only one time we were extremely close. But also during the Cold War, there are other people who have been less than 7 minutes from actually launching nukes. It was a gentleman who saw a bunch of things on our radar, a reading, and he knew that it didn't quite make sense because he was quite proficient at reading radars, and he said it doesn't make sense, and therefore he did not fire, even though the radar was showing that there was a bunch of nuclear missiles flying in to annihilate them, and they did not fire that time either. So twice, actually, Russia, out of all the things you would think, are two times where they kind of stopped it. So yeah, very, very impressive. But yeah, just to clarify, wasn't Vasily, of course, on both of these. If I said that, I don't mean to be not clear about that. But the second one, I forgot what his name was, but I wasn't planning on talking about him today. So, but you can Google it and look it up yourself with the keywords, looking at radar nuclear incoming, and he said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. He basically said, as a Gen Z would say, he said, trust.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about natural radiation. I think that's what the signal was that their radars were capturing. And he interpreted it correctly as maybe, I think it was a cosmic radiation or so. That was kind of strong at that point, which looked similar to a nuclear attack. But he interpreted the signals correctly, that the signals were very random and not like targeted. And then he decided to not do the retaliation attack. You know what could happen after if there was a giant nuclear war? A nuclear winter. That's when the nuclear fallout and all the burnt carbon and dust and soot is going into the atmosphere and then blocking the sun.
Yeah, and then all the greens and everything dies underneath it, right? Kind of like a volcano eruption.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it now with young Jamie. Should we pull up? Because his name was Colonel Stanislav Petrov. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Young Jamie, tell us about the Soviet Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov.
In 1983, Soviet Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov received radar alerts indicating incoming U.S. nuclear missiles. However, he judged it to be a false alarm, reasoning that a genuine U.S. first strike would likely involve hundreds of missiles rather than just a few. Trusting his instincts and the improbability of such a limited attack, he reported the alert as a malfunction rather than launching a retaliatory strike. His decision averted what could have escalated into a nuclear war, as subsequent investigations confirmed the radar signals were indeed a false alarm caused by a rare alignment of sunlight on high-altitude clouds.
That is terrifying. So yeah, thank God that that man was trained and clever. Otherwise, we might have not been sitting here today.
Yeah, what is that saying from Einstein? You remember? World War III is going to be fought with nuclear bombs, but World War IV
I think, didn't he say that he doesn't know what World War III will be fought with, but he knows that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after that kind of apocalypse, then a lot of people are going to die, and nuclear winter is going to happen, and after that, a lot of people are going to starve because all the crops are going to die out as well.
Yeah, that's the scary part of it. I mean, maybe not. That's not the scary part, but it's scary that it's not over, that it continues. You know?
Yeah, it could even cause an ice age.
Right?
Yeah, I think that happened to the dinosaurs as well. After the asteroid hit the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I believe we've had a couple of ice ages in various places of the Earth at the time, at various times. I would say. I believe it's been more than one glacier that kind of moved over Earth and flattened everything out. Actually, it talks about it makes me think of what you're talking about there is like the supervolcanoes, and if you were to really be honest about it, we are overdue for one. It says that we had our last supervolcano, and supervolcanoes are basically doing what you're saying. They spew, first of all, death and destruction onto everything that's near, but it also spews all these clouds that kill everything around it as well, meaning it would be, apocalyptic as well. And they're saying that we had the last one 640,000 years ago, and they estimated that the next one would be between 600 to 800,000 years. So on one hand, okay, we're overdue for one, and people have probably heard the statistics before because I've heard this repeated to me a couple times. But the counter to that to me is that, okay, but you and I, we live for 100 years if we're lucky, right? And we could potentially have like 200,000 years left. So we also may not be anywhere near this.
Oh no, I'm scared for my grandchildren.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about Elon Musk when we talk about this, because if one of these events are going to happen, we're going to want to decentralize and do some risk mitigation. And Elon talks about this quite a bit, that it's going to be a requirement for humans to be a multiplanetary species to prevent some of these apocalyptic events, because, we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. So if anything happens to planet Earth, we better be on one or more planets so that humans can survive. And I think that's, interestingly enough, a very interesting and scary, but also true realization that there are so many different apocalyptic events that could happen, sun rays that take out all the electronics in the world, and you have absolutely catastrophe everywhere on planet Earth. And you have asteroids that could hit, you have all these different things. So the safest thing to do would be to make sure that we don't have a mass extinction event like the dinosaurs, and the way to prevent that is being on multiple planets. What do you think about that? It's a smart thinking?
Yeah, going to another planet sounds it kind of sounds easier than stopping a supervolcano. Like, how would you stop a supervolcano? All the tools that you have.
You just plug the hole at the top. Maybe you send a nuke down there. If you send a couple of Hiroshima nukes down there, maybe that resets the thing. I don't know.
Bro, this sounds like it could either go really well or really fucking wrong.
I mean, if it's a super volcano, what's the chance? What's the loss? I definitely would think we would probably try something like that. Maybe if that would be worth it to consider. Smarter people than me would know.
I'm glad you're not in charge. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Spreading misinformation before I die, Bro, easy, bro. Just send that nuke down there, bro. It'll reset. That's just how it works, mate.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that you're working for the military. You're spreading misinformation in the enemy realms.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like a massive solar flare, solar storm could disrupt modern technology it would take out everything: satellites, power grids, communication systems. And by the way, we have had one before, the Carrington event of 1859. So imagine that happened in 1859, where we were not as reliant on the systems that we're relying on today at all, right? We have technology, and we've seen what happens when the power goes out, and it's calamity. And if that happened again, just imagine like a massive EMP takes out absolutely everything, and then people are left reeling to try to figure out answers without electricity for, well, permanently, maybe.
Well, yet again, the Amish will survive.
yeah. They just won't survive the supervolcanoes, but the Amish are quite resilient. I'm learning here.
No, but what I'm trying to point out is it's actually really useful to for people to kind of like not catch up with trends, like with technology. It's kind of like a checkpoint, like these people, the Amish people, are living the same kind of life that people used to live, I'd say, like 100 years ago or so, and they're kind of rejecting modern technology. But that also means that they are not vulnerable to the disadvantages of relying too much on modern technology.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same as having a genetic diversity, but this is kind of a what could you call it?
Survival diversity, or something. Yeah. It's true. Just like you have, preppers who make bunkers with every bit of money they have, and they buy a bunch of food storage and guns and weapons and ammunition and things, and to try to avoid dying. I think these preppers would be another probably genetic variability, as we're saying in this one.
Yeah. But even the Amish can't do anything about a giant biblical flood.
That would be difficult.
And that would be the job of the Japanese, right? What do you have to say about that?
Japanese are amazing. The Japanese people are just fantastic. They have, because of Fukushima and because of being surrounded by water and as part of being on an island that gets a lot of these floods, they have figured out the technology to do it as usual, right? And one of the really things that I find fascinating is that they have an anti-flood system that they built, particularly in Saitama, which is north of Tokyo, and it's this kind of temple, almost underground. It's been described as a temple. You Google this; they're beautiful, by the way. It's beautiful. Just Google Saitama anti-flood system, and it'll come right back up, and you'll see it. They have like temple-like rooms that collects a bunch of water very, very quickly, and then they pump those into the Edo River. They have huge rooms that take in water very quickly so that things don't flood. And those huge temple-like rooms are connected by 6.5 kilometers of tunnels connecting it all. And they are 260,000 cubic meter of water that's pumped through these. And they're powered by 78 pumps that pump 10 megawatts, and that's 10 million watt pumps. They can discharge up to 200 cubic meters of water per second into the Edo River, and that reduces the risk of urban flooding. That's how they save the city.
How often does the flooding happen per year?
It happens a lot, actually. It's
want to ask young Jamie about that?
Let's do it. Good idea. We have young Jamie. Let's ask him.
Without anti-flood systems, Japan would likely experience significant flooding several times a year, especially during typhoon season and heavy rainfall periods.
Okay, interesting. But several is not exactly an answer. Let me see if we can get a better answer.
I guess AI is not going to take over the world anytime soon.
We got some time. Yeah. See, I told you it's a positive episode. Okay, young Jamie, try giving us a per year instead.
Floods occur in Saitama, Japan, approximately 1-2 times per year on average, primarily during the typhoon season.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's true. I think I read on Google that it was more than that. I think some of the places could have it as often as 9, but we'll leave this one up for your own googling because ChatGPT can hallucinate, so that may not be true. 1 to 2 times per year sounds low to me, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I heard about 7 times per year.
Yeah, I've heard 7 to 9. Yeah, exactly. Something like that is, I think, okay, good. So we both agree. So most likely that's probably more accurate. And I wanted to give you an idea about these massive temple-like rooms with 78 megawatt pumps. Okay, since that is just, it sounds impressive, and it is so impressive to me. But let's make it a case example, or let's make it into something that makes sense to you. Okay, as a listener. Because that's what we do here. We always use case examples and try to make things make sense in an easy to understand way. So, Udo, an Olympic-sized swimming pool holds about 2,500, so 2,500 cubic meters of water. So that flow rate would be about 200 cubic meters per second from those pumps. And so that pool would fill, an Olympic-sized pool would fill in 12 and a half seconds.
Whoa, that was quick.
That's what she said. Yeah.
That's what she said.
A standard bathtub. Okay. If we estimate that a standard bathtub has about 300 liters or 0.3 cubic meters, again, that flow rate is 200 cubic meters per second. That bathtub would fill in 0.0015 seconds. That is just insane. Imagine you open up, like, imagine you have those pumps and then you just go, I'm going to take a bath. And then
it literally blows you away.
It just blows the whole wall and everything. Yeah, because water has viscosity, right? And that's the thing we saw, in the Thai floods and things like that, is that when you're in one of these floods, if you survive one, then you also then have to be in all this water that's moving in some direction. And it took out the first 3 freaking floors. So that is going to take a lot of stuff from people's houses and debris and sharp objects and washing machines and anything you can name it, and it'll shove it right through, and then you'll be in that water at best case scenario getting cut up and destroyed by all these things. And that's actually something that happened a lot in the Thai flood. Of course, a lot of people died in it immediately, but more people were injured by a lot. And this is part of the reason is, wind like hurricanes, they're super dangerous, but they have a different kind of viscosity that creates a different kind of scenario.
I guess like the higher viscosity just destroys a lot.
Yeah.
But how long does it take, that kind of tsunami?
What do you mean?
How long does it take from start to finish of the tsunami?
It depends. It depends on where it happens and why it happens. So, for example, if you have a tsunami that's created by like a tectonic plate moving out in the water, like the case of Thailand, that's what happened. And there, it was 20 minutes from the tectonic plate kind of moving and starting this to the wave crashing into land. And actually it's kind of worse than that, because the very first wave hit with no warning. So the first warning that people got were people screaming to get out of that very first wave. And
wait
yeah.
Like before a tsunami, it doesn't the water always withdraw?
So that's the case. So in this particular case, it did not withdraw on the first wave. That's what was so surprising to people, is that it hit very quickly. That people, and there was no warning sent by the government. So, or if it wasn't reached to people. So people who were on the beach and things, their very first warning was already looking at a 6 to 9 meter high wave, and then it was a lag period where they that was for 10 minutes, receding the water line about 50 to 100 50 to 100 meters. And a lot of people, I think particularly back then, this is more than 20 years now ago that happened. And a lot of people were foreigners. They were on the beaches. They were not used to maybe tropical. Maybe they don't come from tropicals. That's why tropical land. That's why you visit it, right? And not knowing that water receding 50 to 100 meters is not normal. And you should prepare for more waves coming. And that's exactly what happened. 10 minutes later, the second wave hit. And that one was a 10-meter recorded water wall. That's equivalent to, like I said, about three floors. So just imagine if you're sitting on ground floor, first floor, second floor, those three are underwater immediately. And everything that's inside of those apartments, houses, or people, or cars, or anything, all of that up to 3 floors is just going to be moving now. It's no longer stationary. It's going to be moving down the street, or it takes all of the stuff with it. So,
Man.
If you don't die directly, you're going to have a lot of broken bones and huge sharp objects that you're going to get dragged with. And to give you an idea, the Fukushima wave that we were talking about, for the anti-flood system, Fukushima had that atomic meltdown, right? And in 2011. And when that did, that was a 16-meter tall wave that happened there. And I couldn't imagine. Imagine standing on a beach, okay? And all of a sudden it gets dark. And why does it get dark? Because it's a 16-meter wave that's blocking out the sun. And then it comes crashing down, and then,
Wait, okay, hold on. I'm thinking right now, okay? I'm kind of connecting the dots. You were talking about these anti-flood pumps.
Yeah.
That are capable of pumping water away very, very quickly.
Yeah, 200 cubic meters a second.
Could we suck away a tsunami wave?
Like just vacuum it up?
Yeah, vacuum it up.
Oh shit, is that a 16-meter wave? Just guys, get out the pumps. Either blow or suck on that wave.
Yeah. Okay, but seriously, if the water is sucked away early, then the wave would be crashing sooner.
That's what I was thinking. Or maybe you don't even have to suck it like early. Well, that would probably be ideal. But what I'm saying is maybe that you can just make the wave break somehow.
Yeah, make it break sooner.
Yeah, make it break early, like particularly those 100 meters out or even more out, That would be ideal. We need to create boats with huge pumps. Now, I don't know. I don't know how you would do any of this, but but it'd be insane. Actually, the last one. I wasn't gonna say this, but it's just so fun for me. The last one is a large fuel tanker. Imagine if you pump 200 cubic meters a second into a large fuel tanker. They can carry up to 30,000 liters or 30 cubic meters. It would fill in 0.15 seconds. I would love to see those pumps fill something normal. I don't want to see them like do the flood thing, but
that was quick.
That's what she said.
Oh my god. Oh, Jamie, now you're roasting me as well.
Roasting, yeah, shit. We cancel him maybe the next time.
He's canceling me. He's replacing me, man.
Okay, side note, just another little fun tidbit that I also know. Do you know, never heard this, that you ever seen, there's videos on this as well on YouTube. Do you know what, if you're standing somewhere outside and all of a sudden your hair just raises up like kind of like a giant balloon that just rubbed on your hair and it makes your hair kind of statically lift. Have you heard about this? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, that's an indicator of a huge thunderstorm.
Yeah, exactly. It's an indicator of GTFO. Get the fuck out of there. That's what it is an indicator for. Because whenever your hair, if you see, or if anyone listening ever has your hair stand up like that, get out of Dodge quickly, because it means that there's going to be a lightning strike imminently, and it's going to be close. That's actually something that's really interesting. Go and look that up too.
That's really funny. I saw a video of that once, and it was like a tourist in the desert or so, I believe. And they were noticing, oh, this is kind of funny. All my hair is standing up. This is cool.
Yeah.
And then they pull out their selfie sticks,
Oh my god.
and everyone in the comments
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god, that's a lightning coming up. You have to get out of there."
Yeah, no. You wanna put the Edison lightning rod up, quickly, or. I swear, people are insane. Not everybody, of course. If you're a listener, you're one of the people who are trying to learn to. You don't do these things.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, terrifying. I would be terrified if all of a sudden my hair stands up. I bet you can feel it in your skin or something, if you're sensitive enough, maybe. I feel like if you're standing in the middle of one of those serious lightning storms, you'd I feel like you should be able to feel it. Maybe not. At the very least, imagine just feeling your hair feeling light because it's standing up. That must be a weird feeling.
Yeah, but wasn't there a guy who survived like 1 or 2 lightning strikes?
Did he buy lottery tickets after that, or?
He should have.
Imagine surviving one and going, good, I got that out of the way. That'll never happen again. and then what the hell am I being struck by God? What is this? Divine intervention? Who up there hates me?
That's a sign.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, okay, I survived the 2 lightning storms. I'm gonna go and buy a lottery ticket, and then the lottery ticket doesn't yield shit because he's supposed to be taken out.
Yeah, here's $2.50 for surviving 2 lightning strikes. You're welcome, buddy.
What other apocalypses have we written down? What else do we have?
Did you know that the magnetic field of Earth is getting weaker every year?
No, but magnets get weaker, don't they too? Is there a relation to that?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about magnets. How did they work?
So magnets, you can kind of imagine them as having a lot of tiny microscopic magnets inside of them. Okay, and for a magnet, it happens to be the case that all of these microscopic magnets are aligned, so they add up and form a stronger magnet.
Yeah,
And
polarity is the same, or is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Polarity is the same. That's why it powers up basically, and then
it levels up. Yep.
Yeah. And the thing is about magnets or ferromagnets is that they have iron in them. That's why they're called ferromagnets. And the Earth's core is also made out of iron. And since the Earth and its core is rotating, it creates a giant magnet. There's something called the geodynamo theory and magnetohydrodynamics theory.
Magneto.
Yeah, there we go.
I know Magneto. Cool. What is geomagnetic? What is this? What'd you say?
Geodynamo theory.
Giant dynamo theory. Okay, what is this?
Yeah. So Earth's inner core is solid, but the outer core is fluid, and it's made out of iron. And iron can be iron is ferromagnetic, which means if all these microscopic magnets happen to be aligned, then you have a giant magnet. But there's another way to create magnetism. It's when electric currents are moving. Okay, and that's what's happening inside of Earth. You have like streams of magma flowing around, and that's causing very complex magnetic fields. And if they happen to align, then you have this giant magnetic field of Earth. Okay, but since these convection streams are so complex, they're changing all the time. Usually, kind of, they are changing slightly, Okay, but sometimes it happens that the change is very rapid, and that's where the magnetic poles of Earth are reversing. So you're basically going from a very coherent magnetic field to a messed up thing.
Aha, because they don't become the same direction, but rather they pick all kinds of directions.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where the change is happening in the magnetic field. I think it takes like 2,000 or 7,000 years or so for the magnetic pole to shift completely. And there's actually evidence in the Earth crust that this has happened several times before.
How do we know that?
Between tectonic plates, there's like magma coming
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
Okay, and that magma is not magnetized because it's so hot that all these micro magnets, they can't align properly. It's way too hot for that. They're moving around way too quickly.
Interesting. And I want to sound like a kid. Yeah, maybe I do. But why is that? I'm just going to keep asking why. Why?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Why?
Like that's what we're here for, to
Yeah.
always ask questions and learn something new.
Yeah, absolutely. This is cool. So why is it hotter?
So Earth is really heavy, and the mass of Earth is kind of pushing down on everything that's at the bottom. Okay, and so the Earth's core is actually really, really hot. I think it's 5,000 degrees Celsius or so. Can you ask young Jamie that?
Yes.
So, how hot is Earth's core? Earth's inner core?
The Earth's core is about 9,000 to 13,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 5,000 to 7,000 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, so it's extremely hot.
Yeah.
And scientists have figured out something that's called the Curie temperature.
The Curie temperature? Okay. The Curie point.
Yeah.
Should I read this? Curie point temperature at which certain magnetic materials undergo a sharp change in their magnetic properties. In case of rocks and minerals, remnant magnetism appears below the Curie point, about 570 Celsius, or 1,060 Fahrenheit for you Americans, for common magnetic mineral magnetite. What did I just read? What does that mean?
So that basically means at a certain temperature, the Curie temperature, materials that would usually be magnets, they can't become magnets because it's way too hot. That molecules and atoms are moving really, really fast the hotter it gets, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if they're moving really, really fast, then they can't align.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so these magnets, instead of pointing in the same direction, they're pointing in all kinds of random directions and switching their directions way too quickly. And that's why magnetism is not possible at these high temperatures.
That makes sense.
But what happens when it cools down?
Yeah, but first, just one more time. What was the reason for why it got hotter? You said. Maybe I missed that part.
Because of the pressure inside Earth's core. Because you have like thousands of kilometers of material weighing down on the Earth's core. So that's creating the pressure, and the Earth's core is also rotating. So you have friction as well. And as we know, when we rub our hands,
it creates
friction.
warmth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what changed? Why is there more pressure than before?
It's not about more pressure than before, but that's just what's happening. That's what's generating the heat all the time.
Right.
So there's no before and after, but that's happening all the time, and that's why the Earth's core is 5,000 degrees hot. And that magma from the that is touching the Earth's core, because we know, for example, hot air is going up, and also hot magma is going up as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that magma is flowing upwards, and it will go in between the tectonic plates.
Uh-huh.
And since it's so hot, it's not magnetized. But when it cools down, it will become magnetized by the strongest magnet that is active. And that's the Earth's the Earth's magnetic field.
That makes sense because it pulls and aligns all the little smaller ones so that it becomes.
Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Just like you have a very big magnet and a small magnet, you know which one the little magnet is going to the big one.
Yeah.
But one more time, then I'm being thick here. So if it's not a start or a stop, this means that this heating and pressure of the magma and lava then must be cyclical. Then it goes cooler and warmer. It must have been then over time.
Yes.
Aha.
You know, you know where in between tectonic plates, magma can come out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But this also means that tectonic plates are being pushed to the outside. Right?
Yeah.
But what happens on the other side of the tectonic plate?
Oh yeah, pressure.
And there's on the other side of the tectonic plate, one tectonic plate is kind of going under, kind of
Right.
getting eaten by Earth's magma, while the other tectonic plate is going
Over.
above,
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
it. So on the one side, let's say on the left side, new tectonic plate material is created, and on the other side, tectonic plate material is being melted.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. It's literally a cycle. So tectonic plate material is getting eaten on the one side. That since it's cold, it goes down to the Earth's core, and then it gets heating up again. And since it's hot, it's rising up and creating new tectonic plate material.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally a cycle, as you said. And by the way, when these tectonic plates are rubbing against each other, that's where earthquakes are formed.
Yes, right. Exactly. That's what happened in the Thailand tsunami. Was a tectonic plate that went under the other one.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you have more of this friction created by this, it creates a cycle of more hotness, and so it goes, and then that changes the geomagnetic polarity.
Yeah. And we can actually see that in the Earth's crust. A lot of geomagnetic reversals in the last 83 million years. And they happen on a pretty irregular base. But so far, the last one has occurred 780,000 years ago. So we are very, very long overdue for one. And obviously, when a reversal is happening, then the Earth's magnetic field will be weaker. And do you know what happens when the Earth's magnetic field is weak?
We float into space.
No, not yet.
I'm joking, but would it change our gravity? Maybe would it change so that our gravitation would be more like maybe like the moon? Maybe like a little bit lighter, less gravity, less than 1.0 gravity. Maybe, I don't know.
Wait, sorry, say again.
Does that mean that we will have a gravity that is also then weaker on everything? So maybe we can finally break all those jumping records and things like that.
Nice try, but we can't just turn off gravity.
Dang, what is this? This is not no clip? Okay. Not God mode. Got it.
We're not at sci-fi level yet. Maybe when we get super intelligent AGI or so.
But what does that mean? Yeah, if you have a lower magnetic pole,
Okay,
What
so
would that affect? I guess.
have you heard about the Van Allen belt?
Yeah, the Van Allen radiation belt. Yes, I've heard the term, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah. Okay. So since we have a magnetic field around Earth, when there are solar winds, there's actually particles from the solar winds that are
Wait,
caught
what is?
in.
Sorry, what is a solar wind? I've never heard that before.
It's
Okay,
when
he's Google it for me now. Can I read it?
no.
Okay, never mind. You tell me.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain it to you.
Okay,
So
good. Even better.
So sometimes there are it kind of looks like a volcanic eruption on the sun, and it's called solar flare. That's
Yep,
when
that I know.
and during that solar flare, there's also a lot of particles escaping the sun and being shot into space, and all of that material that is shot into space by the sun, that's called solar wind. Okay, and it has a lot of dangerous radiation.
As
Okay?
usual. Mhm.
Yeah. So,
There's a theme here. If it's Mother Nature, it's probably got radiation somewhere.
yeah, it's gonna kill you some way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that radiation, these particles, electrons and ions, were being caught by the Earth's magnetic field, and that's the Van Allen belt. That's all these solar winds, so these radiation particles being caught by the magnetic field, and they're just like oscillating in there, going up and down between North Pole and South Pole.
What is the solar wind is? Like the material?
Yeah,
It gets caught
yeah, exactly.
and oscillates. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where we can see that the Earth's magnetic field is protecting us from all of these dangerous radiation from the sun. And if the magnetic field is going to get weaker, then obviously it can't protect us anymore. Which means
Yeah.
all of that radiation will just hit us.
Rip.
And it's really strong. So not only will it hit us, but there's theories that it will also disintegrate our atmosphere. So our atmosphere will get weaker and weaker. And at some point, we will have something like Mars, where there's no magnetic field that can protect us. There's no atmosphere anymore that can protect us. And then all life will just die out. That's the ultimate apocalypse.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe that's what happened to Mars. Like maybe there was life at some point on Mars.
Oh
but
crap!
they-
I never considered kind of that it could be like Earth. I guess we knew it had water on it, right?
Yeah, in form of ice right now.
Mm-hmm.
Elon
Really?
Musk
So
jokingly said once that in order to get all of in order to free all of that water, let's just drop some nukes on Mars. So
Easy
somebody,
peasy.
if he tries to ask for nukes, I hope he has good intentions.
I know he talks about NASA because he's doing literal rocket engineering that he's under in America. The he has to have like military defense kind of things because he's literally making rockets. So he wouldn't be too many steps, I suppose, to add. He's already got the vehicle, if you will, quote unquote, for it. All it needs is strapping a warhead and a little bit of material and ship
All right. The more I listen to this, the more I think he's not one of the good guys.
I don't worry. I think you still fall in the 50-50 category of hating and loving Elon Musk. I think everyone seems to be very divided about. You can't even mention his name sometimes without people,
Canceling you.
Yeah. So we just make sure we cancel ourselves. Maybe this is like our test that we've mentioned Elon Musk now at least on 2 episodes, probably more. Maybe it weeds out the people who who have strong opinions that we don't share. I think because look, I'm not sure I put him in the good or bad category. I just think he is what he is, like everybody else. He's got his interest and his motivations. But you can't say objective. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, thank God we have him. Genetic diversity. Like, we definitely need his diversity of making us realize that we probably should consider being on more planets, and we should probably make it a priority. So
yeah, just imagine we get to Mars and then we discover some ruins of ancient civilizations that lived on Mars like millions of years ago, but they didn't manage to protect themselves from the dangers of space or some natural disasters like earthquakes or whatever. And when there's no intelligent species, then they can't build anything that will protect them from nature.
in that sense, because we have the technology now, whereas we didn't, not that long ago in the speck of time, maybe it's kind of our obligation then to do, because if we are not able to take care of ourselves or make sure that we diversify, decentralize, and make sure we survive as a species, then maybe we don't deserve to be surviving as a species in case of any of these apocalypse, solar flares, or whatever else we've discussed that could kill us.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to the dinosaurs, right? Like, they had hundreds of millions of years of time to build a civilization. They didn't.
Fucking idiots.
Then an asteroid came, erased them, and after that, mammals evolved rapidly, and here we are, peak of the mammals.
And now we have AI. Man, we've come a long way. Some tiny little T-Rex claws. I, for one, am happy to have opposable thumbs.
I wonder what T-Rex tastes like. Just imagine gene editing gets so good, or genetic engineering, that we can revive T-Rex.
or synthesize, T-Rex like skin, meat, and everything, and then some asshole would cook it immediately. Like, I'm gonna find out what a T-Rex might have tasted like, and then you know what his answer is gonna be? It's gonna be chicken. Everyone always says everything tastes like chicken. That's always what people say. If you ever had alligator, most people are gonna say, what does it taste like? Just like a dry chicken. You ask anything that people are not too familiar with eating, they usually they say tastes like chicken.
Imagine Kentucky Fried T-Rex.
Ooh, our next business. I like it. Come and get your T-Rex T-bone today.
T-Rex T-bone.
It comes in XL, XXL, and massive. What cut do you want? Tenderloin? Back straps? What do you want? Give me the wings. I didn't have wings. I meant the tiny arms. We can get pterodactyl wings. I want to taste a pterodactyl wing. Might be good. It feeds your whole village.
What a year, dude. For a whole year.
People are sick of it. Like, what do you have in your freezer? Some pterodactyl wings. Shit, that's what I've got too.
World hunger solved. Yeah, dude, we have to just bring back dinosaurs.
Easy. Yeah, easy. They were massive. Provides plenty of meat, plenty of food.
Do you know why dinosaurs were so massive back then?
Why?
CO2 levels were really high, and plants consume CO2. So the trees back then were really big as well. And all of these plant-eating dinosaurs, they were growing really big because of that. And if they grow really big, then meat-eating dinosaurs like the T-Rex have plenty of food and can grow really big as well.
That makes sense. I figured it's always when something is allowed to be growing very big, it means that there's a lot of energy to be able to be consumed as well. Not necessarily that everything is big, but but there's a lot of availability. And actually, let's ask young Jamie what a T-Rex would taste like.
A T-Rex would likely taste similar to a mix of poultry and gamey meat, like a
called
cross
it.
between chicken and alligator.
Called
Since
it.
dinosaurs are more closely
Nailed
related
it.
to birds than to reptiles, the flavor profile could be similar to birds with a hint of gaminess found in some wild meats.
Everything tastes like chicken. Even AI says that.
How funny is it that I could assume that and then young Jamie as a person looked it up and told us that that's exactly what it would be like.
Nice.
T-Rex and other theropod dinosaurs share a close evolutionary link with modern birds, particularly bird-like features in their skeletal structures and some physiological traits. This suggests that, like birds, they may have had similar muscle structure and meat composition, and that's the reason why young Jamie just answered what he answered.
Bird. Bird is a word.
Bird. Speaking of birds, actually, how would this geomagnetic change affect birds? Would it? Because birds use this, don't they?
Oh, there's quite a couple of animals that have a magnetic sense. So, especially birds who are flying from north to south during the winter.
Yeah.
They use that for orientation. So that's going to be kind of confusing times for them.
Yeah, what happens to them? Do they just not migrate, or they go the wrong place, or they get confused?
Yeah, they will probably go to the wrong place and then notice, oh shit, it's still fucking cold in here. And yeah, die out. GG. That's it. RIP.
Yeah, I wonder which other animals have a kind of a magnetic sense. Let's see what young Jamie says.
Birds, sea turtles, bees, salmon, and bats.
Birds, sea turtles, bees, salmon, and bats.
Aren't these migrating? Like salmon as well.
Yeah, why are they? Is it because they're migrating, or why are they using this?
Most of these animals use magnetic sense for migration or navigation over long distances.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh wow! So
Huh.
if these guys can't migrate properly because they don't know where to go, then all of these animals that eat these salmon or birds, they will have no food as well. Like
Yeah.
Bears standing in the rivers and catching all of these migrating salmon.
Yes, mixed bear is quite delicious, actually. That and when they eat blueberries. Actually, bear meat comes out blue when they eat during season when they eat a lot of blueberries, and you can taste blueberries in the meat. Interesting, right?
Damn, that's interesting.
Do we know then what will happen to birds in the next? Are they just going to start making a bunch of mistakes, or is it going to happen so slowly they can actually evolve a little bit and figure this shit out? You think? I'm sure we're just speculating now, by the way, but what do you think?
Oh damn it! That's actually a good point that you have. We saw earlier that it takes like 2,000 to 7,000 years. 2,000 to 12,000 years.
Yeah, for the geomagnetic reversal to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it changes very slowly, then they might even be capable of adjusting.
Right.
Wow. And yeah, 2,000 years. That's many generations. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be interesting. If you're as a listener, you have any kind of clue about this, you know about birds or the geomagnetic reversal, yeah, let us know. That'd be interesting. I would love to have an answer about what you think would be likely happening there with them and how it affects them and how they would adapt and adjust and what would happen as a result down the process flow of them not being where they're supposed to be. That'd be interesting, right? I would love to hear someone tell us some more about that. Could we change this geomagnetic reversal? Like, can we send a bunch of nukes some way and just have it?
Why are you trying to
cool.
solve your problems with nukes all the time?
It's been a nuke heavy episode this time. Everything is measured in Hiroshima bombs, apparently.
Dude,
So I just, hey, listen, if everything is a nail, and all you got a hammer, that's what you do.
Tim's way of solving problems.
Nuke
Step
it.
1, nuke it.
Step 1, start over.
Guess what? There's no step 2. Step 3
2
is panic.
Step 4 is die. Oh, it's a good thing I'm not in charge.
Again, thank God for that.
Yeah, me too. So, what do we do about it? Can we do anything about it?
know if we can change it, but that's why it's important to understand the magnetic reversal, and we don't really understand it. The thing that I said earlier, that's just one theory. That's something that simulations have shown, that it's possible to have these magma streams inside of Earth that are causing Earth's magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
And under certain circumstances, it can reverse. But that's just one option, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Another option that sounds really crazy is when Earth is just flipping around, like 180 degrees flip. And maybe you've seen that, the tennis racket effect.
Mm-hmm. This is there's a video that you could search on YouTube, and it shows this, like they're in space, right? And it has this thing that like rotates in place and then spins for like a second and rotates in place again.
Yeah. So they're spinning this screw, and it looks really funny. So at the beginning it's just spinning, but at some point it's just rotating 180 degrees, and then it starts spinning very stably again.
Yeah, let me describe it visually for people who may be in their car or something that can't look this up immediately. Basically, think of a tennis racket, okay? You're holding the tennis racket in your hand like normal, and then with your wrists, you're just spinning it, okay? But then every so often, it's like the handle actually goes to the other side.
Yeah.
So it spins in two different angles, if you will, with no additional input in no gravity. You can watch it spin on its own. And it's really fascinating to look at, actually.
Yeah, and some people are theorizing that something similar could be happening to Earth as well when a geomagnetic reversal is happening. So instead of something in the inside changing the direction of the magnet, it's actually the Earth's crust that is moving 180, rotating 180 degrees. Just like this tennis racket.
Right. Like, everything's rotating. Our planet's rotating. The magma and Earth's core is rotating. Yeah.
But Earth's core is basically staying fixed. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But Earth's crust.
Oh, that's what I meant to say.
That's a thing that is just like in the tennis racket effect. Earth's crust is rotating very stably for quite a long time, but at some point it's just flipping over, just like with the tennis racket, that the handle is flipping 180 degrees to the other side.
The other side, yeah.
Yeah, so Earth's crust might just go from North Pole to South Pole,
right?
And that's what's happening. And if we think about it, how can we know that's not happening? How do we orientate ourselves? Is there any evidence? Because the last time it happened was 780,000 years ago.
Right.
So there was no civilization. There was no one who could record any
data for it.
Yeah, and the only thing that we have is these.
Magnetism, the
Yeah,
polarity, the
yeah,
geomagnetic polarity. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how you measure? Oh, so you draw conclusions from that trying to figure this out.
yeah. And question is, or rather, the perspective is, this is only telling us when the last geomagnetic reversal happened, but not exactly what happened. For example, we could use the stars right now. If we look up in the sky and look at the stars and we orientate ourselves, and if the Earth's crust is really rotating 180 degrees, then obviously all the stars that we are seeing will be different. But 780,000 years ago, no one was there to see that. So on Earth, everything is basically exactly the same, except for the Earth's magnetic field, the polarity of it. North Pole becomes South Pole, and South Pole becomes North Pole. But basically, nothing else changes. So we can't really tell if that's what's happening.
That's interesting. It's a difficult problem, and I'm assuming also that with the example that you just showed in space with that rotating thing, whatever it was, it looks like I don't know, it looks like a screwdriver or whatever.
Yeah, some kind of screw.
Yeah, it looks it's like it looks like a special kind of screwdriver, or a screw or something. Yeah, and I'm assuming that. Because I think with that one, you could almost, based on the rotation, figure out when that's going to happen. But you're saying with this, with Earth, it's not the same. We cannot really tell because it's a lot more complicated. Because it would be almost like having a moving liquid inside of that screw or tennis racket. So it's actually adding, I'm assuming, more complex math to it as well. Because at least that's a solid.
Yeah, since it's a fluid, we have no data. There's nothing carved in there.
Right.
Or so we have no data on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone really smart will figure out something, but yeah, as of right now. Oh shit! Now that I think about it, what if the moon might have some data on it?
Oh, right. If you can.
Dude, wait. Now that I think about it, if a moon is staying fixed, okay, and there was some asteroid shower, like a lot of asteroids hitting Earth and Moon, okay, and we would investigate that and see that this happened at the same time. But wait, why are the impacts on Earth on the opposite side? They should be on the same side because the asteroid shower came from the same direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be an indicator. Holy shit! Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a scientist interested in that, do what you want with that idea. Maybe it leads to something.
I like how you're like, I bestow that gift upon you. I'm sure they've already figured it out, but or considered it. But hey, you're welcome. Okay, you're welcome. That's all. That's all we're saying. Yeah, welks. Okay. What about other planets or moons? Do they have reversal or strengthening and weakening of gravitational pull?
Yeah, as I said earlier, Mars has a magnetic field as well.
Yeah.
And there's theories that the reason why Mars has no atmosphere is actually because the magnetic field got too weak.
Yeah,
We
I'm
said,
sorry. I meant other moons, like further out in the Milky Way. Like,
oh shit, I haven't been there yet, so
okay.
I
Well,
can't tell you.
hey, sucks to be you. No.
Yeah, but you remember me explaining why Earth has a magnetic field?
Yeah.
With these magma streams flowing around and then causing magnetic fields. Obviously, Mars is further away from the sun, right?
Right.
So Mars is also getting less heat from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cooler on Mars.
Mars is cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool guy. Bruno Mars, pretty cool guy.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, and if the magma streams aren't hot enough, then it's just like if you heat up, I don't know, hot chocolate. at some point it will not flow enough to create a magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that might be one of the reasons why Mars' magnetic field is so weak. And if the magnetic field is so weak, then it can't protect the planet from solar winds.
Right, as we discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's difficult. And that's I have one kind of final thing I wanted to bring up. Do you know what most likely us here in like Europe would probably make as a food that is actually really, really abundant in not maybe every apocalyptic world, but if you're going through some kind of zombie apocalypse or something like that, do you know what kind of food you actually would really want to get a hold of? Because many people would probably say cans, right? Cans last forever. So that's probably, but eventually cans are going to run out. So that's not an answer, honestly, right? You need something that you could continue sustaining.
Which means something that has seeds, so you can plant them again.
Yeah, yes, sir. You got it exactly. So seeds are that would be like the highest commodity in a lot of these apocalyptic scenarios, because seeds, is the form of life, and that's what gives you everything. So it's interesting that the first thing we would want to do is bring Mother Nature back, of course, right? And the second thing is, I don't know if you know this, but you know that acorns actually make acorn pancakes, and you can eat those. They take a while from what I've never had one, but you can make one and Google the recipe. You can actually take regular acorns, just like you think on a tree, and then you can make acorn pancakes out of it. It's not supposed to taste good. No surprise there. It's going to take I think say it takes a while to get used to the flavor, which I think is the same thing as saying it tastes like shit. But hey, people make them, and you can do that. So rendering fat for antiseptic and acorns and seeds for sustenance. I think that's really interesting to know as well. I had never heard of that until I started looking it up. Like what you would do to figure these things out. And acorn pancakes.
Wait, that sounds like you would know how to survive.
No. I don't know anything about anything.
Yeah, dude, stop lying about that. You just don't want me on your team, dude. Yeah, I guess I got replaced by young Jamie.
Easy peasy. So the next episode has no Udo. This is actually Udo's last episode. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to let you guys know. No, I'm kidding. Of course not.
Welcome to the Kim Jamie podcast.
Yeah, the Kim Jamie podcast. Kim Young Jamie podcast. I wonder, speaking of Young Jamie, what do acorn pancakes taste like?
Acorn pancakes have a nutty, slightly earthy flavor with a hint of bitterness, especially if the acorns weren't fully leached of tannins. The texture is usually denser than regular pancakes, and they're often described as having a mildly sweet, woodsy taste.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too. Let's consider wrapping this one up. I would like to inform everybody that we have the Discord set up. We want to see you there. You can go into the show notes and find our link tree, and if you click on it there, you will have access to all of our YouTube and social medias and whatever else might be there, and particularly our Discord server. And we would like you, if you come and join us and the rest of us on that server, come and let's have some good discussions.
Yeah, let's try to figure out how to survive after an apocalypse.
Yeah, on Discord together. Yeah. And also, we have started uploading episodes on YouTube as well, so you can find our episodes on YouTube. Just go to the link tree again, and you can find both shorts and the full-length episodes there as well. And they've been really, really fun to make, yeah? We've been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye, fellow humans.